Sammy, Sam, Father Sam if you know me from track, the baby if you know me from hockey.
I'm Batara, but most of people around me call me Obat, which means medicine in my heritage, which is Indonesian.
I am a current
Postgraduate student in visual anthropology at
the University of Manchester.
A little bit about my history in sports. I think like it was a major part of my identity up until university.
I am an athlete, have been an athlete pretty much my whole life. I was always sort of like a rough and tumble kid. Even when I was like a toddler, I was very active and sort of like very physically aware, if that makes sense. And we moved to Minnesota when I was 4. Obviously I played hockey, so if you think the English are intense about soccer, you should see Minnesotans and their hockey. It's a different breed. It's a culture in itself. It's amazing.
I played a lot of sports. I think it has to do because I grew up in an athletic family. My dad was a national athlete in Indonesia. So because of that, I actually got raised to be quite active. But I think it also had to do with the fact that I was diagnosed with like hyperactivity. I got my first basketball hoop at 4 years old. I still remember it was a UCLA Bruins mini hoop, that my dad hung like in our backyard. I think anybody from Los Angeles had hoop dreams. I think everybody wanted to play in the NBA, and so did I. I actually had the opportunity to work out with a professional basketball team in Indonesia when I was 16. But I never really pursued that. The last actual thing that I played competitively was in uni. I rowed for our dragon boat team. It was a club team for UC Berkeley.
I ended up playing NCAA collegiate athletics as well. I did 2 years of hockey and 3 years of track. In my sophomore year, I was in not a very good or healthy or stable environment with my hockey, and I kind of had this moment where I thought I was either going to have to transfer or just end the game all there, which is extremely difficult. A friend of mine actually had spoken on my behalf to the track coach, and he contacted me and was interested in me, and I joined, and I stayed with track for the rest of my college career. It was the best decision I think I've ever made, and lo and behold, 2 years later, we won indoor conference championship and outdoor conference championship. I made it on the school record boards for a couple events and was actually named captain. So when one door closes, another one opens. Being an athlete goes beyond just being able to throw far or skate fast. Having been a part of that community and having been a jock myself, and then also being surrounded by athletes from all different backgrounds and all different sports and all different ambitions, and I can 1000% say athletes are so much more than meatheads. With NCAA, it's a full-time job, and I don't think a lot of people realize the weight that it is. 1, being an athlete, 2, being a college athlete. And the term scholar athlete is, I think, should be seen in a positive light and has so much truth behind it. You have minimum GPAs that you're required to meet, and if you don't, you can't compete, and when you can't compete, you often lose your scholarship. So it's this domino effect that really forces you to be a good student as well as an athlete. My last year's team, we have these things called the William B. Wise Scholar Athlete Award, and they go to athletes who are able to maintain over a certain GPA. And even my track team averages an A average, and that's pretty impressive for an entire group of girls to be able to maintain that. So yeah, there's more than just being a gym rat.
Do I have any regrets? Of course. I feel like we like to think about what could have happened back then, but I try not to think about it much anymore. It's been been on this earth a little bit over than 3 decades, so you tend to kind of let things stay in the past. I do kind of feel nostalgic about that moment when you're stepping out onto the field and everybody in your high school community was out there cheering you on, and you can't but help to remember the missed plays or the times when you could have changed the course of the game. And I think that's a little bit naive to think that the what ifs and etc. But you can't help. I think it's only natural to think about it.
I do miss things. I miss my team. I miss having, somewhere to be every day where I had to prove myself physically. I miss competing. but I'm also excited to see what the future holds.